mode.
Not
Asian Andy
sure it's the right one.
Well, I believe himself and maybe Ice Poseidon are participating in this tournament.
Potentially, then.
For those that aren't aware, he's actually an avid RuneScape player, Asian Andy is. He's constantly playing Deadman in the seasons, always messaging me across how tired he is because he just doesn't want to stop playing. But that's the great thing about Deadman is so many players are so passionate about it. For them, it's almost all that they want to play.
Well, like we're about to get the chest drop right now in Varrock's center. Might be to seal the item as well. Guy in blue, Dehyde, the Myth Kite, going to snipe it out of nowhere. If he can get frozen, though. Oh,
and who's it? Squished Romeo.
Did anyone get it? No one's jumping on it yet. The Zuriel Staff Man already got some crazy gear, grabbed it. Mizic Chara, I believe his name was.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I don't know what he got from that, but maybe we'll see him wear it.
So in terms of like gear, actually, so interestingly, as of 4 o'clock today, there was only one player that decided to take along 3 different types of PvP weapons. So I believe Mika279, as we all know and love, he is rocking Vestas Longsword, Statius Warhammer, and Zuriel's Staff.
Wow, he's got everything.
The only player to have all 3 as of 4 o'clock. That may have changed, obviously, since the time that we've been here.
Yeah.
Then we've also got some other players, like, for example, Deadman Mode Freak Show. It was got very far in the last tournament, previous winner. He's at 4 o'clock. He had both Vestas Longsword and Zuriel's Staff. I imagine he's increased that as well now. Some other interesting stats in terms of like our players. So we had a look at who was our highest rated in terms of combat stats. In fact, it just happened to be Alfie Rules.
Speaking of Alfie, actually, you mentioned that, but I believe just before we went live, we looked at the clips page, and Revan, you saw Alfie dying, trying to make himself a malediction ward. You have to go all the way to like level 50-something wilderness to, a bit like Mordor, you know, to forge the ring. You've got to go all the way up there, in the middle of nowhere, to forge this shield. And unfortunately, he was stream sniped by a bunch of players, and he fell, lost his shield. I don't know how much that set him back. Unfortunately, he didn't lose any stats, but still, quite a crushing defeat, so close to the finals.
Considering being so high in terms of combat level, we would hope that he'd be able to bring that back, and he's got enough in his safety deposit box, especially now when those items, they're not really, you know, you're not really going to be selling them, okay? You've got the next couple of hours. That's probably there for him to go back and pick up.
All right, buddy, this is where you change your prayer. Come on, he's just barraging you, like throwing that magic prayer. You know, some of the basic mechanics that you see in, you know, high-skilled PvP players, you got to be able to switch your prayers. You got to be able to adapt on the fly to what your opponent is throwing at you. But just adding into the conversation about what we just had about Alfie, it kind of sucks for him because we saw earlier in the day as well, he made a big trade for a VLS, and he traded away most of his top-tier gear, thinking that he'd be able to rebuild in the amount of time leading up to the finals, just trying to do these barrel runs. Unfortunately, he gets cut down.
It's just sometimes the way that it goes, though. If you're going to go out there and take that risk, especially so late into the tournament, I mean, personally, I probably wouldn't have done that.
No, I think that was a really silly mistake to make.
Call to make.
And but I mean, like I said before, he had to get away with all his armor. Oh my God! Could finish him here. Oh, that's interesting. The Statius Warhammer actually drops your opponent's defense by
30% on a successful hit.
So the Gene Wall afterwards, obviously being quite an accurate weapon, after the spec, it can still hit quite nice. And just as a bopping weapon, like I said before, is to hit 5 tick. It's very, very accurate, and it can hit, I think, 40 pluses without the special attack itself.
Yeah, and obviously, as we were mentioning before, the VLS, the Warhammer, the Zuriel Staff, these are, you know, the high-impact, you know, weapons that we're expecting to see when we come down to the 1v1s, but we're talking about multi. Even the Vestas Spear could, you know, have some sort of impact when we're talking about AoE damage, and when we're talking about, you know, these range tanks as well. Like, you're not going to give, you know, the throwing axes, the javelins to your top-tier Triberters, right? But you could certainly hand them out to all these, you know, rangers that are just there to act as meat shields, and at least they have something to use their special attack.
I mean, it adds up.
They can certainly output some damage as well.
For sure, yeah.
Well, I was before, even if you're the best player in the game, and you've got like the best gear as well, it doesn't matter. If you've got 10 people on you at the same time, they know exactly what they're doing. You're going to fall in multi. You can't take on that fight. So completely right there. And right now, if you just tuned in, we're just waiting for the permanent stage to slowly push people into the fog, into 2 large areas. So for now, we're not going to see too much action taking place, but slowly but surely, the clans will get positioned, and then we'll see a lot of action. It's going to build up, and then bam, out of nowhere, massive destruction. We're going to choose someone to watch right now. Should we tune into Curtis? What's he talking about? What's he up to?
Monka.
Looks like a little bit scared.
Worried, yeah.
He's got his playlist up on the side. I guarantee you he's listening to the RuneScape music that was just released as well. Make sure you guys add that to your playlist.
Indeed.
But just like we were highlighting from the very start of this permadeath stage, these guys, you know, the big alliances are going to walk up into deep wilderness in these single areas, making sure that they can't get caught out. And then as we start to look ahead towards the final areas, over towards Anakarl, they're going to spread out, charge into multi, and that's where the fun really begins.
Yeah, one of Curtis's greatest strengths, even though he's not really PvPer so much anymore, he does know the game mechanics very well, and he's very fast at listening and hearing commands. He understands how important that is. And let's check out some other clans as well throughout the demo mode with the heat map.
Yeah, so you can certainly see the strategy behind certain members here is that they're locking down certain points. Obviously, the area now is like it's in a free-to-play zone for the individual actual final areas. We've got obviously one up near towards Greater Demons, and the other one which is right down here in Valador by the statue. And as you can notice around, we've got the clumps. These players are obviously assigned towards the Valador area, so their main interest now is just making sure that they are well positioned, so that when that fog does start to spread through, that they're not going to run into another clan. You can see the smaller circles, as Reverend was explaining earlier. That's most likely that they have scouts out there that their main objective is to spot who is coming and then just die.
Well, it's a game of chess, isn't it? You've got to be one step ahead of your opponent. You don't want to just go all in and then end up, having no chances to win. So what most clans are going to do is wait until everyone makes the first move, and then out of nowhere, everyone's going to unleash everything together. Like right here next to this gate, this is near singles, but just south of here is multi. So really interesting positioning there. They can't be hit by multiple people at the same time, but they can hit multiple people from that single area.
Yeah, I was just about to bring up that same point. As we were looking over towards the players gearing up for the Valador Square area, there's obviously that singles area to the east of the statue, and then, of course, over towards Doric's house is single area as well. So that's where these teams are going to be camping out. And it's also important to note that if you're in a single area and the other opposing team is in multi, like you could single to multi them and really maximize your damage output while minimizing your damage input.
So in terms of like clan sizes, actually, I do have some stats on here. Now, one particular clan has asked to remain anonymous. So for now,
we'll expose them at the end. Don't worry.
Yeah, I'll respect that. But unfortunately, I think when we get to the point of 1v1s, I might just have to dish out the info. However, we'll wait for this chest drop. Looks like there's just one poor chap that stayed around. The Saradomin Mage coming in crazy.
Please grab it,
Is he going to hightail the loot and get out of there?
He has! Oh, wow! He's got it! He's going to attack straight on him. He's a baseline combat, double D high. He's not the best defense, but his bald-headedness, he's going to get away. No, he's been frozen. The VLS coming in, almost killed him from half hit point.
Who was on Kemp as well.
It
so we
is.
know he's stacked. He's got the Tome of Fire as well. Then
oh, my God!
He's going to wreck this guy.
The magic bonus.
Staff against that D high. It also has the VLS, like we were talking about. There's no way Crazy Taxi's getting out.
Yeah, I think the only thing that's crazy about this taxi is how he's going to die.
I mean, right now, his only real getaway is going to be walking up and down the ladder and then hoping for an instant teleport. But he's going straight into the fog, and I don't think he's going to get away if he's doing this strategy right now. His team may be coming to help him, depending on what he managed to pick up right there. But unfortunately, I don't think he's going to survive. 33 through prayer, like I said before, reduces damage by 40%, but still absolutely destroying him. And no. There's nothing he can really do at this point, is there?
Poor Timmy. His whole week, he asked his mom to get off school. Mom, I want to grind Deadman. I want to make it to the final area. And Crazy Taxi,
57.
He's all but dead now.
How is he not? He's still alive. He's getting sliced up right now, frozen in place. Maybe get away. That extra 10% casting.
Is this just a suicide run into the fog?
I mean, right now it looks like there is nothing going to be up here. This is all single strip, and I don't know what he's going to do, really. Oh, has he duped him out? He's frozen right now, potentially. If he can get a little run here, he can potentially get away, get to the ladder. Maybe his clan's waiting south, looking to jump this guy away from a bank. He's playing very conservatively right now, staying around edge of banks and get supplies out again. This guy is absolutely stacked as well. He's got a Tome of 5 for extra magic bonus, taking off his helmet too. He definitely knows what he's doing. If he gets the 1v1 stage, he's definitely a very competent hybrid.
Absolutely, but keep in mind the gas is slowly going to close in, so he's going to be forced into a multi-area sooner or later. And if a clan's able to pick him out before these final areas really get going, these are going to be some massive upgrades for any tribe and for any alliance.
For sure. And there he is.
Unfortunately, he wasn't able to get away there. But the question is, what did he drop?
Well, we'll have to wait and find out. We'll see if the PK there that killed off Crazy Taxi is going to jump back over. They are going to jump back over and pick up the loot. We'll find out a little bit later on, hopefully, what they managed to pick up. So we were talking about clan sizes just before we got into that action. Thank you very much. Unfortunate, Crazy Taxi, but you didn't survive that one. Now, these are updated as of around about 7:30 this evening. We try our best to try and identify who's part of which clan and where they're at.
I think I just recognize their leader's name right here.
Potentially. I mean, ironic as well, name change 34. Everyone likes to change their name within their Deadman.
That was the CT, the GG, and the Tartar Alliance, so 3 major clans.
Those guys got to be careful because we know they're positioned over towards like the Valador's memory gate, and we could see at the heat map that there's a big team just north of them. So as they progress over towards the Valador statue, there's a chance that they could get backstabbed from behind. Now we see it on the heat map. Plus you have a small team just north of that as well, just hanging out in the wilderness, single ship. Still action going down over towards the G as well. It's just madness all over the Runescape.
Yeah,
world.
I'm a PK is doing what they do best, and it's PK and gingivitis. So that's,
here's the thing, if you're not part of a clan, you spend the whole week training up, gearing up. You just want to have some fun at this point, don't you? Give us some action on the live stream, since most clans just wait wait out. Right here, you've got the what is this armor? Heraldic shield and helmet. He's gone for the fashion scape. He looks good doing it at least. And the golden apron. That's what I like to see. We have another tweet coming in from RS. Hype for the tournament, whilst I just grind Moss Giants myself. Good luck with the Moss Giants, mate. Hope you get the start.
Hey man, any grind is a grind at the end of the day. You get yourself that nice Moss Giant key, go and kill off Briar Feet. Might get yourself Briar Feet staff. It's worth worth a fair few at the moment.
And this guy up here, rocking with the chin pets that I see on the floor. Obviously got a chance of pets, but unfortunately, as this is the final day demo mode, it's going to go.
Yeah.
Really, really rare to get, one in several 10,000.
I think we've seen chin pet, we've seen the agility pet earlier, we saw Commander Ziliana pet.
Well.
It was like incredible. So in terms of, we said about clans, we've said about their locations. I've tried to touch on their sizes. I have some stats here. We're looking at Cutthroat of a potentially 55 plus in terms of size. Yep. The old Weed Blazer Alliance, great name, maybe be a little bit more original next time, is 98 members strong.
Wow.
The clan that wishes to remain anonymous, potentially upwards of 95 members.
What?
And the big thing here is
and they managed to stay on the down low the whole time as
We're
well.
not talking about alliances. This is individual clans. There's a team rocking with Foe. He's managed to pull together around about 60 players to come along with him.
Bad.
The Rads Alliance, which is going to be Gimme Gimme now, is 95 strong as well. The Lit XD/CD is looking at around about 100 or so. And a clan as XTC have their own chat of about 70 people in.
70? Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then aside from there, we look like we've got some dedicated rock players, around about 10 of them that we've identified so far. We've heard rumors of around about 20 of them participating in this tournament. And then there's another group of around about 15 or so players that have came together. They seem to be a mix of other clans, but haven't decided to go alongside their own dedicated. So maybe they're just like, some clans decide that Deadman is a mandatory requirement that they have to play during that week. Others are like, if you want to play, you can play and just go ahead with whoever else you want to. Because for them, then the name in this is everything, right? It's all about pride.
Oh my
This
gosh.
is what I was talking about a little bit earlier, right? Single combat area to multi-combat area. There's just no chance that these guys are going to tank it out. Maybe gets frozen along the ditch.
That's what we're
Small
talking
chance
about
of escape. Fortunately, he gets away.
That's what we talked about before as well about, no matter how good you are as a player, if you get focused and lots of people get on you at the same time, there's not much you can really do about it if they're
when you've got 50, 40, however many bolts flying towards your face, it doesn't matter how many times you spam click those sharks, you're not going to be able to jump fast enough. You're
Even
going
if
down.
you're praying range, you're just going to drop
Yeah.
it. If you remember back to last tournament, I remember watching, it wasn't Mika, it was Mani, right, in the final area over towards Valdor statue. He gets speared out of the clump, and it just makes himself a clear focus point. He gets piled and doesn't advance to the final 1v1. All it takes is one misstep, one misposition. You accidentally click the mini-map instead of your screen, and all of a sudden your pathing takes you out of the clump. You get frozen away from your teammates, your fellow allied members, and you get taken out. And that could be your tournament week over right there.
So the chest dropping any second now, level 10 Wilderness, just north of Edgeville. So not very far to run towards the safe zone, depending which safe zone they get, or near a bank.
He's doing Vorkath. He's got the upgraded accumulator.
Oh, wow, he does. So he's gone really hard. That's like 107, I don't know, it's a crazy amount of quest points. And here it drops
When
right
this
now.
crest drops, it could be a mammoth upgrade for whichever one manages to pick it up.
Mammoth, oh, great, the mammoths around us. Well, here we go. Who's going to grab it? Looks like, he got himself the item, Risk AGS. The DFS was
Wow,
that.
straight
He
away,
put it
that was
straight
DFS,
on.
yep.
So that is the best in slot shield in the game, apart from, of course, like the Elysian and stuff like that, which most people don't go for corporately. It's quite a difficult boss to kill, especially in demo mode where it's dangerous everywhere. But the other guys decide to hightail it out of there. He realizes, now I'm not going to take on a fight with a DFS. There's no point in that one. So walking away with some really nice lutations there.
Interestingly, you say about Corporeal Beast. Now, one of the changes, we've talked about PvP weapons a lot and how those have introduced new metas. They're very strong. We also touched on it very briefly before about the God Wars Dungeon.
Yeah.
Now, that's a staple of Old School now, is that God Wars Dungeon, the AGS, Saradomin Godsword, Armadil, Bando's equipment, all of those drops were increased by 4 times their normal rate. I've heard on the grapevine that a few members managed to get into God Wars Dungeon very early. By day 2, they picked themselves up around about 3 Zamorak spears and have been camping Corporeal Beast since day 3.
Wow.
I believe that was Cutthroat. I'm not too sure if they got anything from it. I guess we have to wait and see exactly what happens.
But we
yeah.
have seen, there are definitely 2 AGSs in-game. There are certain members that have shown us over images of having multiple Zenites, so they're probably going to be turned into the Ring of Suffering. If you've been familiar with previous tournaments, Ring of Suffering is a very, very, very good ring in the 1v1 scenario because it's so tanky, it offers such good defensive bonuses, but also has a recoil effect, similar to that of the
These
Ring
guys
of
are going
Recoil.
to get slaughtered, man. Look at their gear. I mean, you have a guy there with Varrock's
chef's
top
hat
bottom. He's
dancing
got
away.
Torx hammers, Aram's hood. These guys, they're going to charge right into GDZ and they're going to get mobbed.
They seem to be happy about it. This guy's having a little jig along. He's good. He's feeling all right.
Blue
He's
D-Hide, Chef's Hat. He's a true warrior.
Dinosaur Junior too. What a cutie.
Oh, God, are they going to walk into the other clan now? Because the clan towards the west, and obviously soon they can't stay here forever. They're slowly going to be pushed in by that fog. As it starts hitting harder, you get pushed to the final areas. And at that point, you've got to kind of engage in combat. Whether you've got wearing a chef's hat, or you've got Torx hammers on, or a VLS, doesn't really matter. You've got to get involved. And this is what we're going to see as well, the clans' coordination really coming into effect. The true clans, even if they've got only 30 people, 40 people, if they're fighting a team of 100, if that 100 isn't utilizing its numbers well, if it's not coordinated enough to push all round, wrap round, and engage in the combat, then that's just numbers that aren't really being used.
Oh, absolutely. Organization and just general listening is key for these big multi-fights. You have to stay near your clan members. You have to focus damage with them. I mean, sure, sometimes, especially with pay-to-play gear, you might be able to output enough damage to kill a player by yourself, but it just makes it so much easier if you're attacking the same person as 30 other of your teammates.
Not to mention, of course, the fact that the more people we've got on the same target at the same time, obviously, if you get hit by someone, you've got to stay calm and you've got to be able to actually eat food and still do damage at the same time. Otherwise, you're going to be, like I said before, just a useless member, really.
Helps if you have your sounds on as well. That way you know for sure when you're getting hit. And it's always safe to say that as soon as you start taking damage, especially in these big fights, you should start eating. All it takes is one D-Spear spec, and all of a sudden you get focused and you get taken down.
Yeah, so we're having a look at another player's screens here. The last person, I guess, it would only be fair if we just jump in and have a look at what SkillSpecs is up to.
Yes, we talked about SkillSpecs earlier. He has the Amulet of the Damned, which has a special effect on a lot of the Barrows items. So for Darok, if he's wearing the full Darok set, has a 1 in 4 chance of having like a vengeance effect, like a recoil effect back. And the Carol's itself, when he's wielding that, with the full set, the Carol's bow has a 1 in 4 chance of doing double damage, the second hit being half of the first. So if you can max like a 26 or something in the current gear that he's got, or a 25, I think, he'll be hitting a 12 as well with 97 range. He predominantly adopted the style of range because he realizes he's going to be far casted. He might get frozen in place a few times. And if he gets down to that low hit points, obviously Darok's, when you're low hit points, you pull out the axe, you can hit 80s and 90s, so we can see some really huge.
I'm really hoping we see some big hits like that, and I believe he's also rocking the Vengeance as well, so that's going to help him, especially if he gets to that 1v1 stage.
But one thing that might be working against him is because he's using these two-handed weapons, he doesn't have like an anti-dragon shield, and he's not sipping any anti-fires as well, so if he's going up against an opponent that's using Dragonstone Bolts Enchanted, that spec goes off, it could really, put a quick end to your tournament. But now we're starting to see these clans spread out, entering the multi-area, and soon enough, these big clusters are going to form, and the action's going to begin.
Well, I said before as well, these people on stage, all 3 of them, they are in the clan Lit, or the Lit Alliance, which means that they've been pushed into 2 different areas. Now, KempQ is by himself at Falador.
It looks like these clans have run into the few people on the outer edges of the clump, and I'm really glad, actually, because we've got 6 players remaining. It's putting me a little bit on edge at the moment. Thankfully, that's going to go down shortly.
Oh, absolutely. And Martin is actually in a different area from the other guys down in Falador. So either way, if their clan still wins one of the areas, we'll hopefully see at least one of the guys on stage going through into 1v1. Of course, like we said before, only 64 players from each area go through to those 1v1s.
Yep.
So dwindling down now to the numbers when people start getting involved into the fights. They're going to drop like flies.
And it was great last round. We had all 4 players on stage that were there, make it through the final 1v1s. Let's see if these 3 could replicate that as runs have been turned on. And now the charge has begun over towards the GDZ area. You're going to see these Lit guys try to gain some early positioning. But we have the luxury of having the heat map right in front of us. We know that there are already clans positioned, whether it's over towards the new gate, downloading your single strip. They're all ready to converge on this one final area.
We see a lot of familiar names here as well. We've got Mika, who's been going absolutely mad the whole time. We saw, I believe, Curtis was also there as well. But yeah, check out the heat map. We have 4 massive forces, 2 from the west, 2 from the east. Now, obviously, the east is single strips. The guys standing over to the east can't be attacked by other clans. They're just waiting and biding their time. But obviously, eventually, they have to be pushed in. And when that happens, it's anyone's game.
And you see where Lit's positioned right now, just a little bit to the southwest of them is another big cluster, so they could get caught out in multi here. Granted, they do have old gate if they just want to charge through, try to force the other clan to funnel through the gate, and then they could wrap around their new gate. There are definitely options here for Escape if they're feeling some pressure.
For sure. I mean, what's really interesting, I find, is like, obviously, we have the great ability to be able to look at this heat map, whereas the players don't have that level of hindsight. Or
they would love to have it, though.
Yeah, if they could, they would notice that when we saw the one group that came and that are hugging the fence currently and brushed past the outer edges of that other group, the other group is actually bigger than them. Yeah. So they could have taken that chance to kill them off.
Not only are they bigger, they severely out-level and out-gear them.
For sure. Now, we have another chest drop coming in. This one actually contains the Infernal Cape and an Amulet of Fury. So it's the only time that you get an Infernal Cape for not killing the Zook and not get banned by Mod Sween.
Well, the Infernal Cape itself gives a +8 strength bonus. It looks like this guy's got it with the D boots, 114 combat, so we can definitely utilize it. That is 2 max hits added on. The Fury itself, too, has some great stats.
On right away, too.
Huge defense bonuses, some prayer bonuses too, and just all over. It's just a great amulet to have. Drops his glory on the floor, doesn't need that bad boy anymore, and looks like his friends around him too are rooting for him to go far. He was probably allocated that item, and CT now moving down into the Falador area, changing locations, getting a bit closer in, so if they do see another clan falling in, they can be the first ones to hit it.
There's a tight little corner that they're moving into all the way towards the south where they will still be in the single area, but they will have the opportunity to maybe hit some players in multi if they get caught out of position, so they're still safe for the time being, and keep in mind there is a big group to the north of them over towards the Goblin
Whoa,
Village. There's a big group to the east of them as well over towards the Mysterious
I'm sorry to
Rocks.
interrupt you, but is that a Zamorak pet that guy with the staff of the
Hiding
north
behind
has
the
got?
tree?
Oh my gosh, he's got. We're doing Zamorak then, that clans. They must have Staff of the Deads, they must have Hasters, or at least Spears as well.
Oh, yeah, we were talking about the Spears when we were talking about that one Alliance Camping Corp. We were thinking it might have been CT, but we were also hyping up the Staff of Dead in the last tournament. We knew that there were a couple in game, but we didn't see any make it towards that final area.
We can see some movement here now, and actually
look at Valley. It's about to heat up.
So thankfully, the group that were sitting at the gates literally left not any less than like 30 seconds ago as the group towards the top has started moving down. Really, really, really convenient for them. Either they've got insider knowledge or someone in there is just a psychic.
Well, I'm sure they've got scouts in different clans.
Scouts or leaks, some sort of intel.
Making sure they know exactly every single
That is
move they're
probably more
playing.
plausible than them being psychic, to be totally honest.
Oh, and some guy steps out of position, loses his full Darox.
A lot of gear upgrades there, yeah.
That's a lot of upgrades. Yeah, obviously, in this affirmative stage, if you die with Barrow's armors, it doesn't turn to 0, degraded. You can just pick it up and pop it straight on. Same with the DFS as well. It's got fully charged on it. So if you can kill someone with some good gear, it's definitely worth, committing to the fight and taking it for the 1 versus 1 stage.
And look at the large majority of the tanks here. I see a lot of climbing boots, some Mista boots on them. So getting that D boots drop, at least it upgrades one of your members. Still some damage being output here in singles, but as the fog starts to set in, these guys are going to be forced over towards the final multi-area.
That guy was trying to backstab. He just gets turned on by everybody at the same time, and bam, he's out.
Just give a quick shout out here to Chase That Feeling. Great name. Watching Deadman mode while slaying on mobile. Cheers for the iOS update. You're more than welcome. I'm glad that you enjoy mobile.
So still down here, Cutthroat, Tartar, Rot, frontline members as well, all in the southwestern region. Up north, it's going to get very interesting very quickly. Now, this middle area of the Demonic Ruins actually increases your prayer. But if you get caught in there by freezes, by clumps, it's a 1x1 square to get in and out. It's like a little doorway. If you get caught there, you are screwed. So we're going to see a lot of clans sticking around the borders, trying to get sucked in too easily. And positioning here and coordination is literally everything.
You're starting to see them prepare for the engagement that's about to happen. Some players, starting to venge some of their teammates, getting ready for this engagement. And it's nice to, try to position some of your mages inside this GDZ area. If you're holding that eastern door, you could have your mages, toss out some barrages towards the western side doors. Just try to catch people out of position. Holding that real estate could really help out your team with locking down this final area.
Both of these forces are huge. Could we get, by any chance, confirmation on the southeastern team, potentially, that we're seeing right here? Because I don't really recognize any of the names. It'd be awesome to put a clan name to it.
Yeah, hopefully we can get some of that info in there.
We see a fire-making cape as well. It could be at GG. We know that Gimme Gimme has got like 100+ members, the Solo Alliance previously. They're doing exceptionally well. So maybe we've got the GG up here and the Cutthroat down in the southwest. We have got a lot of lit members here as well, big names, Be the Victim. There we go. That's the freeze I'm talking about. If you get caught in the middle, I mean, there's not much you can really do. You just get clumped so easily. But will the other clan retaliate? Because if you get baited into the middle too, like lured in.
Instantly dropped.
That's it, exactly.
And, that's just one misstep. Maybe he misclicked, on his mini-map, got dragged in a little bit over towards GDZ, just like we were talking about. You step out of position just for 1 second, and that could mean the end of your tournament. As these guys, they're just locking out to the area. What's going on around the GDZ still in single strip? We have this big group of players just ready and waiting to pounce over towards that final area. Of course, players still setting up over towards Faldor as well.
And what are your thoughts about this final going into it then? Who do you think is going to come out on top based on the statistics that we've seen and based on what we've seen so far in terms of the clan sizes?
I think it's easy to say lit, right? They had the most members in their CC, and just
big
stretching off
well.
their last tournament, they just have a lot of big names, a lot of skilled players. However, just like we were talking about with Rot in the last tournament, however your clan wanted to focus them and take them out of the tournament, I feel like the same could be said about lit coming into this one. So they must be a main focus for some of these teams, just trying to thin out the numbers and giving everybody else a fair fighting chance.
Now, if this clan next to the gate do not start moving quickly, unfortunately, caught by the fog, and that thing hits hard. It's toxic. It just keeps increasing the damage constantly. Starts out as little ones and then goes to 10s, and then instantly you just get destroyed by it. So you've got to start moving quite quickly.
And just to touch back on the PvP weapons, if one of these players gets caught out in the gas, maybe you throw a throwing axe at them, deplete their energy.
That's the thing.
Now they're just
I've
walking,
not seen
they're
that yet
walking,
either.
taking damage, and it just can mean a world of
Honestly,
pain. It's so annoying to deal with.
Those throwing axes are actually huge for this stage, I believe. They're not so good in the finals. That's using it as like a main hand weapon, not for the special attack. But here, they drained your energy 6 times as fast for a whole minute. Now we see another clan moving in as fast as they can into the final area of Falador. Shin's being flown straight away. It looks like action's happening. We can't quite see who's towards the northwest. And it looks like the other team as well having to move into the corners from the Anakar location.
I believe the players have got less than a minute now to get into their areas before fog starts to set in. So that's why the action is literally just instantly impacted here. You can see it's so explosive. There's so many damage hits everywhere. People in the right prayers. You've got a lot of protect from magic here.
Oh, wow. These two clans are actually ganging up on the north and western one, people at Newgate.
You can see they just completely split into them, just pincered them.
And again
now pushing
here,
in from the northeast as well. This clan is going to get caught out. You see from the west, barrages and chins being thrown, as well as from the south, the group to the northeast, they're just getting mopped. You see the damage output towards the northern side of GZO as well, towards the northeastern corner. So much damage being outputted. In this situation, you don't really know what to pray. You see all the chins being thrown at you. You're like, okay, I want to pray range, and then the barrages come in and keep you cemented in place as bodies are starting to drop left and right. Keep an eye on that. Players remaining 641 right now, but it's going to drop quickly.
But actually, the clans of the southeast actually wrapped around and attacked as well. Now here we have 3 major clans we talked about before, 3 huge alliances. Everyone trying to stay out of combat at the same time. If you gang up on one team, take care of them quickly, but you have to look for your back behind you as well if they come around on the other side. And just chins being thrown everywhere. Now it's all about keeping calm and still trying to put out damage while you're also taking damage, which is a huge skill in itself as well. And it's just clumps and clumps here. So we have the clans to the southwest have been getting destroyed, and looks like Lit actually to the northwest have been completely cleared up almost. No one would have expected that, right?
The numbers are completely dwindled since the last time we came here. It's just a matter of seconds.
They're
just falling like
trying to stay alive. And back to Falador right now as well. The clan to the northeast getting taken down. A little bit of lag from all the chinchompers being thrown around, as is expected right here. But all you can really do is tank and pray and just keep trying to spam and try and, just get as much damage output as possible.
In this situation, having something basic just like a Phoenix necklace equipped right now could really save your life, as you're starting to see players just starting to deplete their resources. Movements now being called by these clans to try to put themselves in the best position to output damage. It's just like we pointed out a little bit ago, we were over 650 players, now down to just under 500.
And look in the middle as well. Actually, some players in the middle are actually staying there. Curtis adopting the strategy of just, you know what? Let's jump into him. Let's see what he's up to.
So auto-casting Blood Barrage as well, that's going to help him sustain in these big fights, and you can see him just hugging his tank here. He doesn't want to put his rubs on, he wants to maintain, high defensive bonuses just to try to stay alive, mitigate the damage that's going to be incoming. You see him just casting, running back, just trying to stay safe in the middle of GDZ.
Well. I'm really surprised it's actually staying inside the middle as well, because that's usually a place where you normally get hit. But obviously, if the other clans aren't going to focus the middle, they're going to fight each other, and hopefully you can then, kill up the remaining score and hopefully jump into that last 64 players in this area.
You can see SkillSpecs as well at GDZ. He's hiding inside the key, just trying to stay alive, surviving till the very end. Meanwhile, over at Falador, still over towards the northwest corner of the statue, lots of damage being output here. I see some Staff of Deaths as well over towards the western side. The fight still massive clumps being formed.
That clan to the northwest is getting absolutely destroyed right now by the south and from the east. They can't really do much.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. What can you do in that situation? How about let's go and have a look at what SkillSpecs is up to, see if he is being sneaky enough. There he is, hiding away, not taking too much damage
he's
here.
low on supplies, though. He only has, like 12 brews left?
Well, unfortunately, he's not there with Mage, so he doesn't have the option of using Blood Barrage like everyone else is. So the only way he's healing is by using those Saradomin brews.
And you can see him desperate, like all the loot piles around. He's like, looking, can I find some more brews? Can I find some more supplies to try to stay alive here? Finds a black mask as well.
Picks it up, why not?
Not sure how much that's going to help him out here, but still, just looking at the loot piles.
I think
it's so tempted to go run around and pick up that rune kite, but it's not really going to help you out much. It's not a serious upgrade. You want to try to find maybe runes. If you can find some soul runes, if you're on ancient magics, try to get some blood barrages out there. Anything to help you sustain and stay alive, that's what you're looking for on the ground.
But he's still got so far to go. 400 plus players left. Can he wait it out, or is he going to get sniped now that he's been exposed in the middle? Now back to Falador. We still see 3 of the major clans, although the top one, Northwest, the ones that were a bit late to the party, the ones that were hiding at the gate, they seem to be mostly cleared up. And again, we see this massive movement of all the clans that are together, and that coordination, moving as one big unit. And it's so important that they all attack at the same time as well to get that jump on the opponent. But towards the southwest now as well, it looks like C2 having a bit of trouble to try and regain that.
But you see, wrapping around through the southeast side, they're going to try to, converge on this alliance over towards the southwest side of GDZ. And, even though it might be something simple, but you'd be surprised how many people out there can't read a compass and they don't know which direction is which. So it's so important that you listen to your main caller and you trust the calls that they're making. Just stay together as a group. And you can see this group towards the southwest side of GDZ. They're going to get cleaned up, but now their flank is a little bit exposed as you see one alliance now wrap around the northeastern side.
You see Curtis not actually getting involved and be the victim as well. A lot of the Lith members are just trying to stay alive as possible. But if they're not engaging in that combat, the rest of their team is going to fall. It's less DPS. So there's kind of a balance of, trying to stay alive and trying to keep out of the main clump. But at the same time, you've got to do DPS too, otherwise your clan's just going to get cleared up completely.
Yeah, I mean, in the last 5 minutes or so, we've just seen hundreds of members drop. I think as of 35 minutes past 8, Lit, we're looking at 130 members strong, random 120 players, 100 people with Gimme Gimme, 98 people with Weed Blazers and 81 with Cutthroat. And then we've also had 98 or so with the Anonymous clan that wants to just remain secret for now. But I can't imagine that is anywhere near it because those numbers definitely do not tally 378 players. So we have literally seen so many people die. I think Lit probably took the biggest hit from what we saw there, especially with how they were all getting attacked, piled in. And these team down in Falador, the way they were getting pincered from both sides, their numbers dwindled instantly.
Well, we talked about it earlier, didn't we? The last tournament, a lot of the alliances, the Cold Alliance with Lit. We got CD, DL, Overtake. They all left the Lit Alliance. They didn't like the leadership. And I guess this new clans they thought to themselves, let's get revenge. Let's take on Lit. Let's take them down. Look them through to the finals again. They can't have another win. And everyone's very committed to that right now, but it seems.
Of course, still some lit members remaining. We could see Curtis is still alive. I hope SkillSpecs is still alive somewhere. Still lots of members inside the main GDZ area. And as these numbers start to thin, now you're going to start to see some single pilots get called. Some members getting caught out in the middle of GDZ, just like you were pointing out earlier. It's easy if you're holding that eastern side GDZ. You have a bit of a wider door to kind of shoot into, and you could really isolate these players inside for some free kills.
I thought it was interesting as well. Curtis would be the victim. See, the rest of the members then lit inside the Anakal area were actually in the corner. They couldn't get out. There's only one way in, one way out, but they were hiding still in there. If they get caught out at some point, they're going to be destroyed quickly. We've got a tweet coming in from Toy Avenger as a reminder, hashtag Deadman Autumn if you want to tweet us. That's what we're saying. Ian looking a solid 10 out of 10. Very kind of you.
I wonder why you read that one out, hey, Ian.
I look like, I don't know, the cat in the hat guy. That's what most people normally say, or a nutty professor. Anyway, Curtis looking a bit nervous right now, trying to still come out of combat. I wonder how many supplies he's actually got left right now. He's using that blood barrage, like I said before, which heals a lot of damage as well, depending on what he hits, which is quite nice as well.
They all seem to be doing well so far. They're all still alive. Every member that's on stage is currently alive in game, which is incredible to see. I would love to see them all get through to the final 1v1 stage. It'd be incredible to watch.
Well, 349 players remaining now, so they will have a chance of doing so. It just depends on whether Lit, the people they've gone with for that final area, can just stay alive and pull them through.
Yeah, I have to say, this tournament really has just been non-stop the last few minutes. Typically, it's not until the fog really starts to push the players in, but they've just been relentless. This is throwing out barrage, throwing out chins, killing everyone in their path.
And this team right here, the South, they're just getting pushed. You see that big unit going south at the same time. And they're not doing any DPS back. They're just trying to run for their lives, hoping to get into that top 64. But playing like this, and you've got a clan of 100-plus people, you're not going to get into that 64, are you? It's going to come to the point where one of the clans might have to actually kill their own members to finish up and let their strongest players through.
Look what's happening just south of the statue. As they call the movement over towards the southeast corner, a couple of their members get left behind. The big swim of players just to the north of them immediately pounce and just dwindle out the numbers.
The barrage.
No, it seemed like only like 5 minutes ago we were at 650 players, down to just 320. Slowly but surely, numbers getting dwindled on both sides. And once again, members getting caught out in the middle of GDZ. These are just free kills for either team.
Well, I'm surprised, actually. It's still, again, Lit, hiding in the middle, killing anyone they can, still engaging in combat.
They got to be
just,
careful
just saying there's two big clans fighting out, and they might think to themselves now, oh, Lit's not as much of a threat anymore. We took care of them. Now let's fight each other. But might be a mistake. I guess only time will tell. Back to Falador right now, looking around. And again, chins being thrown every direction. But the clan to the southwest looks to be the most formidable. They have a lot of players in barrows and high gear. So, I don't know, man. That looks like they're going to clear up very, very easily right now.
That player to the south, he had a Zamorak spear equipped, no prayers overhead. He falls. And speaking of spears, it's now around this time where you could, safely kind of, well, not necessarily safe, but you could start going in for melee. And yeah, you saw the spear. There's a Zuriel staff
getting clumped as well. If you get that in this
that'd be a huge upgrade, especially if you're one of those members that's relying on blood barrage to heal yourself.
50% extra heals, it's huge.
We were talking about Lit hiding away in that little corner there, and that might be a disadvantage to them. But also think about it. They might only have one way out, but guess what? If they want to get attacked, there's only one real way in for them. So they're maybe they're using it so they can have a choking point of anyone that wants to come for them. So in that time, they've realized they're a little bit less in terms of force size, so they'll let everyone else on the outskirts fight it out. If they want to come and attacked, you're going to have to come to us. And at that point, we have the advantage. We have the upper ground. They can do the first attack, get the freezes, get the people in that start to come first, and kill them off.
Yeah, they're just hoping they don't get overwhelmed in the corner. Meanwhile, back at Falador, northwest and southeastern corners currently occupied over towards the statue. Looks like there's some clear focus points going on over towards the middle. Some members geared up, just trying to tank this out. And just like we've been mentioning throughout all these fights, some spear specs coming in over towards the southern side of the fight.
And that guy,
right now,
he's going to fall. This is the fixed guy trying to walk away. He's got a Phoenix Nexus up, out of food at the moment, getting bolted by that guy. He's going to fall high. No, the Phoenix Nexus breaks. Like you said before, you have to get down to 20 HP, and it just heals you up.
Yeah,
which is super
definitely
good.
Wants to hug his tank gear here. You get caught out in robes and just minimal defensive stats on those robes. You're going to be able to take a lot of damage, unfortunately. But right now, these callers are just looking for clear piles to make. You obviously see the main clumps being formed. And what you want to do right now is just call the outskirts of the clump. If somebody takes 5 steps south of the clump, you freeze them, call them out, have everybody bolt them, and they're going to die.
So we talk about Lit actually dwindling numbers. I've just had some updated stats as of 4 minutes ago. Lit were 81 members strong as the top biggest clan still left alive.
Wow.
The clan that wants to remain anonymous for now, very formidable opponents in previous tournaments.
When should we expose them?
Are around about 78 members strong.
Oh, wow.
Weed Blazers, 66 members. Cutthroat, 44. Clanless, 43. And the Rads Alliance at 42 members.
42 only. They were one of the biggest, strongest units going into this. I guess they must have got, clumped up by a lot of other players. And still, we have Curtis, etc., be the victim, hiding in the middle, just waiting it out.
Blue Bonnet coming in and saying all those chins being thrown is animal abuse. I mean, you're completely right. Unfortunately, though, that is their main purpose.
I would love to see a statistic actually on how many chins were thrown during the final hour.
I think that's one for a mod Lottie, I believe. We'll have to get some stats on that.
And if you want to contact us as well and let us know what your thoughts about the tournament, don't forget to hashtag Deadman Autumn on Twitter, and we'll read a few of those out for you guys.
And as we know, once we have 64 players remaining in either of these final eras. They'll be teleported to the final 1v1 stage for 128 players total, where it's just bracket play from then on out. But as once again, now you're starting to see these clans really start to control these final areas, and it's just isolating kill by kill, taking out some of the weaker members. Even if you have to BS from time to time, you want your strongest members to advance through.
No, absolutely. But right now, we're in a game of stalemate, pretty much. Clans do not want to commit or overcommit, because once you start finding someone, if you're the first clan to run away and not commit completely, then you're going to lose a lot of members in the process. And right now, they don't have those members to lose. The Northwestern Force just waiting for it. The Northeastern one needs to go in at some point, because they're just getting bolted from the corners as well.
If you're the Northwestern group right now, you should split into two. Send a couple people to wrap around to the southeast and trap them in the northeastern
And I'm surprised it's not happening yet. We've got DMM Freak Show, previous winner from Lit, may go down here for literally max gear.
He's tanking.
Managed to tank in the DFS. Can he get away?
Wow, it looks like he's managed to get away. He's going to survive. That's incredible.
That was unbelievable.
And it's important to note that if you're a caller here, every move that you make, you're going to have some players left behind, whether they're frozen or whether they're just not listening. And you have to keep that in the back of your mind, that with each movement, each call that you make, you might be losing some members in the back lines in the process.
We can see here now up at Great Demons, they're doing a bit of ring around the roses and following each other in a circle. Maybe at the point someone will get frozen and we'll see them get piled on.
And you're seeing it happen on the southeast side. As these guys start to wrap around the western side of GDZ, a couple of their members are getting caught outside to the southeast, and then vice versa is happening. You're seeing on the western side of GDZ.
I'm still in disbelief that Curtis somehow has remained intact, even though you said that Lit was down to so few members. He's managed to stay alive right in the middle right there.
How funny would it be if somebody had a Ring of Stone equipped there and was just hiding as a pile of rocks somewhere?
I want to see that in a file at some point.
We just had information come through. An infamous content creator and streamer, also a formidable opponent in the 1v1 arena beforehand, Bitter has fallen.
Has he? Now, he was with CT.
Whoever killed him, I owe that guy 50 mil.
Oh, no. That's very unfortunate for him. And he was one of the best players for CT coming forward as they're representing them. Now, back to the Falador area, and still, just a game of stalemate. A lot of the higher level
look at that mage on the northeastern side. DFS, Zuriel, staff, full arms as well. God. Mage prey up, tanking over towards the western side. But that's got to be a clear focus point to the other team. I mean, you look at that gear, you look at the levels, you got to be able to take him down. And it's a massive upgrade for your main Tribrid as well.
And again, being caught out of position, right here, altered, level 115 combat, really good gear, but a few bolts, even through prey range. And that's Clutch Spear coming in, but he's suicided with the spear. The guy went down, but now another target. Is he going to be able to take him out, or is his clan going to be able to survive and help him out a little bit? Baby Jesus with the chin in his hand. Can he tank it? Is he going to be able to? Yes, he got away. Great spear, great clutch. Ensured the kill for his clan right there.
SkillSpecs still alive as well with MMORPG, just to highlight over towards the key of GDZ, while you have one team maintaining control of the northeastern side, another team over towards the western side. Could wrap around the southern side if you want to try to sandwich these guys, but still chins, barrages being thrown left and right. And these guys, they're just looking for easy piles. Like this guy on the corner on the northwestern side, that's an easy pile. People close to landmarks, something easy to call along the wall, along like the orbs, highlighting the outskirts of the final area. That's where you want to be calling, and that's where you want to be focusing your damage right now.
And a lot of the high-level players actually getting involved. You see Azuriel staff just blood barraging as much as he can right in the front lines. A lot of the tanks just getting, doing as much DPS as they possibly can at the moment.
And the team that's on the northern side, they have way more area to work with than the players on the western side. Look, they only have 2 squares of wiggle room, and now they're forced to retreat towards the southwestern side. As they make that movement, some of their players might get caught out along the key.
For sure. I mean, we just talked about a bit of falling. We've just seen a load of people fall there. We've just had a little bit more information about a few other people that have fell. So previous winner, Deadman Freak Show, he's fallen, no longer in the tournament.
Yep.
And also, poor little Alfie, he died around about 10 minutes ago.
What? How did he die? Do we know?
Unfortunately, at the moment, I'm not sure. Just got information that he unfortunately perished, as you would say, Ian.
I see Graphis is still alive in this area towards the southwest. I think he's the player with the ancient staff, DFS, Carol's top and bottom as well. Take a look at the first-person POV of MMORPG. This is Curtis. You see, he's still got some brews to work with, still a lot of soul runes left, so when he could cast that blood barrage, he could still heal himself. We still see some supplies scattered throughout. He's definitely looking for some brews me to pick up. Meanwhile, ChemQ, he's down to final 4 brews.
So that is Lit then, we know that, in the southeastern corner. They don't have very many players left whatsoever. That is an ACB, yeah. And ChemQ as well. I mean, down to what, 3 brews right now? I don't know how he's going to make it through. He still have 100+ people to fall until we get to the final areas. So he's got to hope and pray that Lit can bring him right through to that final.
He's wishing he could run south real quick and hit that Falador western bank, restock his inventory real quick. He's got some chins to work with as well. And, something that could really help these guys if you could highlight items on the ground, food, brews, anything that could help you gain some health as more players getting caught out by their team. It looks like ChemQ and the rest of Lit, they might get caught out towards the southeast, but they're still doing a lot of damage just south of the statue. Look at all those clumps forming.
They're being completely wrapped around.
I think ChemQ has just fallen.
Oh, no, the first
it seems like he has just died the first on stage to unfortunately perish.
Well,
I mean, to have got this far, though, incredible.
Exactly.
Congratulations to him, but he's put on a fantastic show.
So close, but this permadeath phase is just brutal. You get caught at the wrong point, and not much you can really do about it. But great tournament for him nonetheless. He had a lot of fun. His first tournament he's played properly, so kudos to him for coming down here as well. And yeah, good fight, man.
It's got to be a big learning experience for him as well. I mean, this is typically the guy that kind of rushes things, as you're saying. Graphics, he's taking a lot of damage. He's down to his final couple of hit points left. Somehow finding a way to stay alive. Desperately trying to throw some blood barrages around, trying to heal. Swaps over to Robes, and somehow everybody's hitting zeros on him.
How is he tanking still? He's in Robes. I can't believe it. And the throwing axe is coming in. Oh,
Redemption Prayer keeping alive for the time being.
Oh,
and there,
no.
Graphics has fallen. We just saw Kemp die a little bit as well. Some of our favorite content creators falling here in the final stage. As we look ahead towards the 1v1 area, we're about to enter 210 players remaining. With 64 at each area, they'll be teleported to the final areas.
He made it so close, he's yet so far away. We still have around about 80 or so members to fall before we can move into that 1v1 stage.
And also, Graphist falling for that zero staff means whoever killed him has just got themselves a huge upgrade, potentially one of the best weapons in the game right now.
It must be so crushing to fall at this late in the tournament now, to be the last few people to be able to get through. We've got a tweet coming in here from Studio Ragnarok, who is saying, "Loving my first Deadman. It's great background for skilling. May the best clan win."
Aww.
Keep it up, champ. Make that XP.
Good luck with it. So we have Ranger Boots over here, you never learn. This was like the Lit squad, potentially. A few names that I recognize in the northwestern corner. Would make sense if Graphis went with them as well. They're still looking pretty good at Enfalador. Much better than Anakar, which is only a few left. But look at that. Asian Andy steps out of place for just a second, and boom. I guess that little clump in the corner is definitely worthwhile. Look at those freezers being caught. And then you got he goes to the other clan as well.
Guy.
Oh, man, out of position completely. And speared right into the middle, too, so everyone can engage in him. And he's not going to tank that one, unfortunately.
But keep in mind, as those players are still holding the key, they could toss some barrages of their own out through that eastern door, and you're starting to see some clumps form there. Big group over towards northeast as well as the southwest, respectively, over towards GDZ. And just like I said before, we'll wait until we get down to final 64 players in each area before we move on to the 1v1s.
And look at that clump there, right in the corner, getting frozen in place, 15 seconds for the barrage. And there's not really much they can really do in that position, can they?
Pray.
Pray, yeah, literally
So you can pray to your God of choice and hope you live.
Quite literally pray.
And Falador is done.
Falador is done, which means that the clans that were there, a few members actually got through despite being almost, completely finished off. They managed to just stay alive.
I wonder if there are any PvP weapons left on the ground here.
I wouldn't be
Interesting to
surprised.
see. I think we're going to have the fog coming in very soon that's going to really push these in. They're going to take damage whilst they're in the safe zone just to force them to get those down to the last 64. We can see we've still got 122 players to kill off in this area alone.
SkillSpecs still alive. I think MMORPG is still alive inside the key. These guys, they've been kind of camping in this area since they've moved into this final area, and look, it's worked for them.
Yeah, I think for them it's a great spot because, as I say, there's only one way to get to them. And if you're going to do it, well, they have a team that's just a little bit on the outside, team up in the corner. There is literally, as soon as one person comes in, you can see it's working for them. They're just firing out shot after shot after shot.
And as well as that, you've obviously got 183 players left. 128 is what we're looking for. So there are 60 players or so that need to fall until these players go through to the final.
And it's all in this area as well. We took a look at Falador. That area is completely done. And now the fog, it's going to start to push in 60 seconds until it really starts to kick up a notch. And these guys, they got to start fighting. The engagements are going to happen soon. You see telegrams desperately being thrown out. Just looking for any, even if it's a one dose of brew, it's still 50 plus 15 HP.
Absolutely. And right now, I don't know who's going to make the first move, but it looks like Lit still trying their best to stand in the middle. They're trying to get baited out, though. The chin's being thrown and then run around. This could be bad for Lit if they get caught out of position here. But here comes the fog, hitting fives continuously. Everyone needs to do something. And if
because those guys in the key, they weren't fighting all too often, they might have more supplies than people on the outskirts here.
You can see they're using the walls to their advantage, hiding away in the
DFS
corner.
in the middle of GDZ?
A quick update in terms of numbers. As of 2 minutes ago, Lit were strong with 58 members, Weed Blazers at 52. The Secret Clan at 44. Gimme Gimme Rad's Alliance has dwindled down now to 24. Cutthroat around about 20, and there are about 18 or so members that aren't associated to any other clan.
And just like Ian mentioned a little bit before, your prayer regenerates in this Anakara area, so you can keep throwing up your heart prayer, your redemption, trying to stay alive, but unfortunately members dying left, right, and center as these members are just desperately clicking their brews. You see first point of view from SkillSpecs right now. He's got a lot of brews to work with here. He should be safe looking ahead.
And you can see for him now, he's not really taking any damage other than the fog because of his positioning is helping him out massively. Considering he only had a small amount of brews to go into this, he doesn't have blood barrage. To have the amount that he has left now, well, congratulations to him. He's doing amazing so far.
It's so crucial in this position right now that you are really still eating food and doing as much damage output as you can. Because the other people, if you're just stuffing your face with food constantly and other people are hitting you at the same time, you're going to fall much faster. So it's important that you prioritize doing that damage too. But these clans,
it's nice to look for some gear upgrades.
Exactly.
Here and there too.
But these clans don't seem to be worried about engaging right now, which tells you something about one of them. Maybe it's time to move in because they're afraid. They feel like they can win. And it looks like that's going to happen right now. We only have another 50 players left to fall until we get into the last 1 versus 1 area.
I mean, a lot of these players seem to have nothing anything left. They're relying on redemption.
Oh, and here they go. Look right from the middle. Lit decide to finally make a move. They realize they've got enough supplies. If they kept out combat for long enough, they want to just take down 60 players as fast as possible. Curtis, though, getting sniped. He's down to 13 HP, eating up Bruce desperately. If he can get some blood barrages off, he might be able to stay intact for just a bit longer.
Last 2 brew sips, he's going to have to make sure he's getting those barrages in at the same time. Hopefully he can pull through without falling.
Only
here.
15 people left to go. Can he stay alive
Curtis.
long enough?
You still got 2 sips of brew. Come on, sip, sip. Chug that brew. Stay alive. You got this, Curtis.
And I see someone next to Curtis actually BSing, backstabbing across the round. Look at him with the 0 staff, casting barrage rings desperately. So is Curtis. And he's moved. He's done it just about with 2 brew doses left. Absolute champion.
Wow, that has got to be the most action-packed final moment leading up to the 1v1s that I've ever seen.
Oh, look at all the loot left on the ground. That's so tempting to pick up. I wonder if any PvP weapons were left behind in either the area, but there you go. The multi-area completely done with. Now moving on to the 1v1s. This is what the players were playing for. If you talk to any player competing in this tournament, you know that how confident that they feel in their own tribrid skills. They've made it to the final 1v1s. Now let's see if they could live up to their word.
So not only is there a huge grind in the week leading up to this moment, you've then got to get through that daunting as hell permadeath stage, and we're now in the 1v1. So this is the moment where all the clans, they have got their best members. Hopefully they've managed to get them through. If they haven't been picked off already, and they've got the best gear, but we have seen some really big names being taken out. DMM Freak Show, the last winner, taken out. Alfie's gone. Graphist is gone. Q's gone. However, let me just say, SkillSpecs is
I was about to say
it.
that, yeah, the Carol Darroch coming into fruition. Finally, we're going to see some massive axe hits, hopefully, some beastly KOs. That's what he's known for, so let's see it, Jay. You know, get some action, give us some clips.
I said it at the beginning of the stream. It seems like it's a strategy for SkillSpecs every single time. He comes in, you know, he doesn't have the best gear. He doesn't have the best levels. He's underquested compared to some of the players, but always finds a way to make it to the 1v1s, and it's something that maybe people know that he might not be as big of a threat in the multi-area, and they just kind of let him live by.
Yeah, it's like, all right, why waste our time? He's not going to get us, but, well, actually, he might just get you this time.
Another thing to mention as well is actually the amount of clans that have made it through to this stage in the game. There are just so many out there. You mentioned like even 20 people from the smaller clans as well. Like CD's got 20, you got Blazers with like 60, the random clan that we can't talk about yet.
It's what we can talk about him. It was Fools, I'll say it. Fools is the clan that we were trying to hide it. It's past the multi-area now. They were kind of playing a little bit low under the radar. If you're not familiar with Fools, they're a Finnish clan. I love the country clans. They're always a formidable opponent. We actually had Buck out here, what was it, like 2 tournaments ago, representing Fools when they won that tournament. So they're definitely another one of those teams to look out for.
And they're well known by everyone for their multi-presence. And obviously it's obvious that they've got through and they can just show their true potential right now into the 1v1 stage. The question is, are they geared up enough and well enough to take on the 1v1s and go all the way? Oh, it's a replay. They're watching us casting. Fair enough.
Look how good we look, man.
Oh, man.
But this was such an exciting multi-area. I mean, keep in mind at the start, right, it was pretty scary for Q when he got caught out over towards the Edgeville bank. There's a very deadly Triber just waiting in the wings trying to catch him out of position. There's a scary moment for him. And then finally here, towards the GDZ area, Curtis with 2 sips of brew, desperately trying to heal off his own teammates inside that key. He makes it to the final area. Absolutely amazing.
So let's talk a little bit about the 1v1 stages now, what this is going to mean.